Welcome to X Confessions Unlocked, where X secrets spill, revenge gets served, and sometimes X's come crawling back. Subscribe now for real, unfiltered stories about love gone wrong, and sometimes very right. Drop a comment with your X drama. Yours could be next.
The moment I saw them, my entire world tilted on its axis. There, in the dim glow of my ex-boyfriend's porch light, was my cousin, my spoiled, always-get-her-way cousin, locked in a kiss with the one person who had shattered my heart a year ago. And the worst part? Her wedding was in 7 days. I should have turned away. I should have pretended I never saw it. But my feet stayed rooted to the spot, my fingers digging into the steering wheel as my car idled across the street. My phone was in my hand before I even realized what I was doing. The camera shutter sound was soft, but in that moment, it felt like a gunshot. Click. Evidence secured. Now, what the hell was I supposed to do with it? I never expected my life to intertwine so messily with theirs. My cousin Zara had always been the golden child, flawless, charming, and unbearably entitled. We grew up more like sisters than cousins, sharing clothes, secrets, and sometimes even crushes. But where I was cautious, she was reckless. Where I overthought, she dove in headfirst. Then there was Kieran, my ex. We met in college, two introverts who found solace in each other's quiet. He was the kind of guy who remembered the little things, like how I took my coffee or the fact that thunderstorms made me nervous. For 3 years, I thought he was my forever. Until he wasn't. The breakup had been sudden. No fights, no warning, just a cold, detached, I think we want different things. A week later, I found out he had been texting someone else. I never got confirmation, but the way he avoided my eyes when I asked told me everything. I buried myself in work, convinced I was over him. Then Zara got engaged. Her fiancé, Dante, was everything she wasn't, grounded, kind, and real. The first time I met him, I remember thinking, she doesn't deserve him. But love isn't about deserving, is it? It's about luck. And Zara had always been lucky. Until now. For 3 days, I debated what to do. The photo sat in my phone, a ticking time bomb. Telling Dante felt like the right thing, but Zara was family. Then again, so was betrayal. I finally cornered him at their rehearsal dinner. Dante, I need to talk to you. Alone. He followed me to the empty balcony, his brow furrowed. Everything okay? I took a deep breath and handed him my phone. His expression didn't change as he stared at the screen. No anger. No shock. Just silence. Then calmly, he handed it back. Thanks for showing me. That was it. No outburst. No confrontation. Just nothing. I expected him to call off the wedding, to scream, to demand answers. But he just walked away like I'd shown him a meme instead of proof that his future wife was cheating. Had he known? Did he not care? Or, and this was the terrifying thought, was he planning something? The wedding was tomorrow. And I had no idea what was coming. The morning of Zara's wedding dawned bright and suffocating. I stood in front of my mirror, adjusting the deep green bridesmaid dress that Zara had insisted would bring out my eyes, as if that mattered today. My stomach churned, and not just from the cheap champagne we downed at the bachelorette party last night. No, this was pure, unrelenting dread. Because Dante knew. And he had done nothing about it. I had replayed our conversation 100 times. The way his fingers had brushed mine as he handed back my phone. The eerie calm in his voice. The way he hadn't even flinched. Was he in denial? Was he planning revenge? Or worst of all, did he not even care? The church was packed by the time I arrived. Zara was already hidden away in the bridal suite, surrounded by giggling bridesmaids and a frazzled makeup artist. She looked radiant, all glowing skin and effortless elegance, her white dress clinging to her like it had been sewn onto her body. I wanted to vomit. You okay? My aunt squeezed my arm, her brow furrowed. You look pale. Just nerves, I lied. But the truth was, I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. The music swelled. The guests stood. And there she was, Zara, gliding down the aisle like she hadn't been sucking face with my ex-boyfriend a week ago. My eyes darted to Dante. He stood at the altar, his expression unreadable. Handsome in his tailored tux, his dark eyes locked onto Zara with an intensity that made my skin prickle. Was that love? Anger? Or something far, far worse? The priest began the vows. Zara's voice was steady as she recited hers, all sweet promises and doe-eyed devotion. Then it was Dante's turn. He took a deep breath. And then, he laughed. Not a chuckle. Not a nervous exhale. A full, deep, cruel laugh that echoed through the church. The guests shifted uncomfortably. Zora's smile faltered. And then Dante reached into his pocket. He pulled out his phone. And with a smirk, he turned it toward the crowd, toward everyone, and tapped the screen. A video played. Zora's voice. God, I can't believe I'm marrying that boring man in a week. Kieran's chuckle. Then don't. Zora's sigh, dramatic and fake. Ugh, I have to. Daddy would kill me if I called it off. But once the money's mine, well, accidents happen, don't they? Silence. Then. Kieran's low, amused voice. You're ruthless. Zora's giggle. That's why you love me. The church was dead silent. Zora's face drained of color. And then, chaos. Gasps. Shouts. Zora's mother screaming. Dante just stood there, watching Zora with a smile so cold it could have frozen hell. You, Zora choked out. You recorded me? Dante tilted his head. No. He did. And then, as if on cue, Kieran walked in. My ex-boyfriend. The man who had broken my heart. The man who had been kissing my cousin. And he was smiling. Zora looked like she was about to pass out. What the fuck is happening? Kieran shoved his hands in his pockets. You really thought I'd let you use me as your side piece while you plotted to off your rich husband? He snorted. Please. The second you started talking about accidents, I went straight to Dante. My stomach dropped. This wasn't just a betrayal. And I had been nothing but a pawn. Dante stepped forward, his voice cutting through the whispers. Did you really think I'd marry you without doing my homework? His smile was razor-sharp. I knew about the cheating. I knew about the money. And thanks to him, he jerked his chin at Kieran. I even got proof you were planning to kill me. Zora swayed. You bastard. Oh, don't worry, Dante said smoothly. I already called your father. Zora shrieked. The guests erupted. And I? I just stood there, staring at Kieran, the man who had broken my heart, the man who had saved Dante's life. What the hell had just happened? The silence in the church was deafening. 300 guests sat frozen in their seats, their shocked faces illuminated by the glow of Dante's phone screen, still displaying the damning video of Zora and Kieran. The air smelled of expensive perfume and wilting flowers, the scent of a perfect wedding turned to ruin. Zora stood at the altar, her hands trembling at her sides. The delicate lace of her wedding gown suddenly looked like a costume, the illusion of the blushing bride shattered. Dante pocketed his phone. Any last words? He asked, his voice eerily calm. Zora's lips parted, but nothing came out. Then, the doors burst open. A woman strode down the aisle, her heels clicking sharply against the marble floor. She was older, mid-40s, dressed in a sleek navy pantsuit that screamed authority. Her dark hair was pulled into a tight bun, her expression unreadable. The murmurs started immediately. Who is that? Isn't that the CEO of Al-Farsi Holdings? What is she doing here? Dante's composure slipped for the first time. Mother. The woman, Soraya Al-Farsi, stopped at the altar, her sharp gaze flickering between Dante and Zora. Then, without a word, she turned to the crowd. I apologize for interrupting, she said, her voice crisp. But it seems my son forgot to mention one small detail before this wedding proceeded. A beat of silence. Then she pulled out a folded document from her briefcase. The prenuptial agreement. Zora's breath hitched. Dante's mother unfolded the papers with deliberate slowness. Clause 7.3. Infidelity nullifies all marital benefits. She looked at Zora. Which means, my dear, you get nothing. Zora's face went pale. That's not. Signed and notarized, Soraya cut in smoothly. You didn't actually read it before you initialed every page, did you? The room erupted into whispers. I watched stunned, as the reality of the situation settled over Zora. This wasn't just a breakup. This was a financial disaster. Dante's family was one of the wealthiest in the country. And now, because of that prenup, she was walking away with nothing. Then, from the back of the church, a voice rang out. Actually, that's not entirely true. Every head turned. Kieran stood near the doors, his hands in his pockets. He looked different, not the heartbroken ex I remembered, but something sharper, more calculated. Dante's mother arched a brow. And you are? Kieran smiled. The loophole. He walked forward, pulling out his phone. With a few taps, he turned the screen toward Soraya. A video played. Zora's voice, clear as day. The prenup doesn't matter. Once we're married, I'll make sure Dante wants to give me everything. A pause. Then, and if he doesn't? Well, accidents happen. The room exploded in gasps. Zara's knees buckled. Dante's mother didn't even blink. She simply turned to her son. Call off the wedding. Now. Dante didn't hesitate. He removed his wedding band and set it on the altar with a quiet click. It's over. Zara's father stormed forward, his face red with fury. You humiliated my daughter. No, Dante interrupted coldly. She humiliated herself. The guests were already rising from their seats, murmurs of scandal spreading like wildfire. The wedding was over. But the drama wasn't. As the crowd dispersed, Kieran approached me. We need to talk, he said quietly. I crossed my arms. About what? How you conveniently had that recording. His jaw tightened. I wasn't working with Dante. I was protecting you. From what? He exhaled sharply. Zara was never going to let you walk away from this unscathed. She knew you saw her with me. She was planning to ruin your reputation next, make it look like you were the one who came onto me. My stomach dropped. Of course she was. Zara had always been ruthless when cornered. Kieran grabbed my hand. We need to go. Now. I hesitated. Then I heard Zara's voice behind me, shrill with rage. You. I turned just in time to see her charging toward us, her wedding veil askew, her eyes wild. Kieran didn't give me a choice. He pulled me toward the nearest exit, Zara's screams echoing behind us. The last thing I saw before the doors swung shut was Dante watching us leave, his expression unreadable. The car door slammed shut behind us, sealing me inside with Kieran as the engine roared to life. Outside, the church loomed like a crumbling monument to Zara's ruined ambitions. I turned to him, my voice barely above a whisper. Where are we going? Kieran's grip on the steering wheel tightened. Somewhere she can't find us. The tires screeched as we peeled away from the curb, leaving behind the chaos of the failed wedding. My hands trembled in my lap, the adrenaline still coursing through me. We drove in silence for nearly an hour before arriving at a modest beach house just outside the city. The moment we stepped inside, Kieran locked the door behind us and drew all the curtains. You're safe here, he said, tossing his keys onto the counter. I crossed my arms. Safe from what, exactly? You still haven't told me the whole truth. Kieran exhaled sharply, running a hand through his hair. Zara wasn't just cheating. She was manipulating everyone, Dante, me, even you. How? He pulled out his phone and scrolled to a series of messages. She knew Dante had trust issues. She wanted him to find out about us, just not like this. I took the phone, my stomach twisting as I read. Zara, if he thinks I'm unfaithful, he'll tighten his grip. And when he does, I'll have leverage. My blood ran cold. She had planned this. All of it. The doorbell rang. Kieran tensed, but when he checked the security feed, his shoulders relaxed slightly. It's Dante. I blinked. What? Sure enough, when Kieran opened the door, Dante stood there, his expression unreadable. He stepped inside, his sharp eyes scanning the room before landing on me. You okay? He asked, his voice softer than I expected. I nodded, still processing his presence. Why are you here? Dante smirked. Because Zara doesn't know about this place. And because this isn't over yet. He pulled out a USB drive and handed it to Kieran. Play it. Kieran plugged it into the TV. A video loaded, Zara, sitting across from a lawyer, her voice cold and calculated. If Dante ever tries to leave me, I'll ruin him. I have enough dirt on his family to bury them. The lawyer leaned forward. And the cousin? Zara smiled. Oh, she'll pay too. The screen went black. Dante turned to me. She was never going to let either of us walk away. Kieran crossed his arms. So what now? Dante's smirk deepened. Now? We let her destroy herself. He explained his plan, leaking just enough of Zara's scheming to her inner circle, letting the rumors spread like wildfire. By the time she realized what was happening, her reputation would be in tatters. No police. No revenge. Just consequences. The tabloids had a field day. Socialite Zara Al-Mansour exposed as master manipulator. Dante Al-Farsi spotted vacationing in Monaco, sans wedding ring. Kieran Nasser returns to his startup amidst scandal. As for me, I moved on. Not from the hurt, not from the betrayal, but from the drama. Because some stories don't need grand finales. Some just need to end. 3 months later, I ran into Kieran at a coffee shop. He looked different, lighter, like the weight of Zara's games had finally lifted. We talked, really talked, for the first time in years. No lies. No schemes. Just us. And as I walked away, coffee in hand, I realized something. The best revenge wasn't destruction. It was moving forward.